What's up, everyone? It's the King of Ruckus. Yeah, I know I haven't posted for like 4.5 months, 5 months. It's been a real long time. This video here is about the PlayStation 4 and update 1.50. Now, when the PlayStation 4 had that great week at E3, I think back in June or whenever E3 was, I reserved the system that day, within minutes of them announcing that it was $400. I reserved the system. And, I didn't reserve it that day, but I was going to reserve Watch Dogs and get that. And that was going to be it. That was going to carry me, until PlayStation started dropping their exclusive games. Until we got the next, the next Uncharted. Or the next Last of Us from Naughty Dog. Whatever series they do next. The next Infamous. The next God of War. The multi-platform games, which should, by all accounts, be better on the PlayStation 4, because developers are saying that it's that much better when they make games on the PlayStation 4, because they have more to work with. They have more RAM, better RAM. You get numbers of like 30% better than Xbox One, 50%. It's probably somewhere around 30%. I don't think it's as high as 50%, but you get the idea. It's generally the better system. So I was going to get that first. It's better and it's cheaper. But Sony's doing what they always do. They overpromise, underdeliver. The suspend resume, it's magically not going to be ready at launch. A feature that they announced as far back as E3, maybe even before. I don't remember exactly when they were talking about the suspend resume, but I'm going to say E3. As far back as June, okay? And it's now, it's October 27th when I'm doing this video. On the 25th is when we found out that it wouldn't be ready at launch. It wouldn't be ready on November 15th. Now, I understand these systems, they're mass-produced, and they basically have, like, the most stable firmware that's available at that time when they're produced. So they have to patch these things on day one. Even though Microsoft caught flack for this because of their whole strategy. But I'm going to get into that later. I'm disappointed. I'm going to be saying that a lot in this video, in this rant here. I'm disappointed. I don't want this generation to be a repeat of previous generations from Sony. They always overpromise and underdeliver. An example that I go to a lot in these videos is the PlayStation 2 hard drive. Before the thing came out with Final Fantasy XI, they were talking about how you would be able to put music on it, install all your games to it. Basically all the stuff you can do with the PS3 hard drive now, and the Xbox 360 hard drive. They released the thing, none of that stuff's on the back of the box. Only certain games allow you to install them to the hard drive. They overpromised, they underdelivered. And now we get all this hype about certain features on the PlayStation 4, and they're not ready at launch. Another thing that I didn't like about that update list was that they were hyping Music Unlimited. They were saying you could listen to background music while you're playing your games and chatting with your friends by using Music Unlimited. What about putting MP3s on my hard drive? Something that I was able to do with the PS3. Now you have people downplaying this online saying that, oh, they're going to let you do that. We don't know that, and that's a big problem. Because if you look at that update list, I'm going to have a link to it down in the description, and to be honest, if you're watching this video, you've probably already seen it. But I'll have a link down there anyway. You look at that list, and you go to that little section about Music Unlimited, there's no mention of putting music on your hard drive with MP3s. And this is something they should know, that people online are going to see something like that and ask questions. You go through the comments, people are like, oh, can I still put music on it myself? Can I still put MP3s on there? Can I still put my own music on there? And they released this information on a Friday. That's something I've talked about in other videos too, how companies do this. It's not just the entertainment industry. But basically they released negative information on a Friday. They released it on the weekend to kind of quell the negative reaction. Because if they did it on a Monday, it would just snowball throughout the week while people were going to work, talking at their water coolers. They'd be like, did you hear about this? I can't believe this shit, man. They'd be saying that all throughout the week. You do it on a Friday when people are more interested in having fun and They're just hanging with their friends. They're not at work every day. It doesn't have as much of a snowballing effect. You still got the internet, obviously. But it quells the negative reaction to it. So that's another reason I'm concerned. It could just be something they decide to leave off. You know, I'm hoping that, but like I said, you don't release something like that on a Friday. It doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense to me. Like, these companies should be smarter than that. They know that people are going to look over every bit of information they give to you. And they're going to nitpick, like I'm doing now. You know, they know people are going to be pissed about this music thing if it turns out to be true. If you can only use music unlimited. You know, and that for me, that's a big problem. You know, granted, I don't really listen to custom soundtracks too much when I'm playing games. But don't give me something on one system that you don't have on the other. You know, Xbox One doesn't have this problem. They don't have this problem. PS3 didn't have this problem. Xbox 360 didn't have this problem. And on PS4, it's like if I want to listen to music at all, I gotta use Music Unlimited. That better not turn out to be true, man. It really better not. Because it really makes you wonder what else they're going to be limiting. Blu-rays and DVDs don't work out the box. Even with the most stable version of the firmware put into the system when it's built, you would hope that Blu-rays and DVDs work out the box, man. It doesn't make sense. Like, one of the biggest reasons that the PS3 sold so well is because it was a great Blu-ray player. And in PS4, they take that away from you unless you have an internet connection day one. Or when you buy your system. It doesn't make sense. Now, I've gotten a reputation from some people here on YouTube that I'm like a quote-unquote PlayStation fanboy or PlayStation guy, you know, because a lot of videos I posted when I got started were Uncharted videos. And, you know, I guess that would lead people to believe that I'm all about PlayStation. Even though I'm looking at my collection right now, I've got more Xbox 360 games than I do PS3 games. At least, you know, physical copies. You know, I'm not a fanboy. So I'm not beholden to PlayStation. I'm not beholden to Microsoft. You know, I have preferences, don't get me wrong. I think the PS4 is going to be the better system when everything's said and done next generation. They have better hardware. But this shit that they're doing now, I don't like it. You know, when Microsoft fucked up, I complained about that. So for me to sit back and not say anything now would be hypocritical. I have to say, with Watch Dogs being delayed and Drive Club being delayed, there's not much I'm interested in on the PS4. Resogun, that's it. Resogun, or Reshogun, however you pronounce it. The game done by Housemarque, the people who did Super Stardust HD on the PS3 and the PSP version. And I think there's a PS Vita version too, whatever. You know, the people who did those games. I'm interested in their game. Like, I haven't seen, like, I never got into Assassin's Creed. I hear that Assassin's Creed 1, for some people didn't like it, but 2, 3, Brotherhood and Revelations, and I think there was another one, that those were awesome. People love those games. Like, they got everything right that they didn't get right in the first game. So that a lot of people think Assassin's Creed 4 is going to be really damn good. But I never got into the series, so I'm not rushing to play it. You know, I downloaded Assassin's Creed 2 for free on Xbox 360. I'll play that first, if anything. You know, I'm kind of done with first-person shooters. I don't have an interest in getting Battlefield 4. I'm not thinking about getting COD Ghosts. You know, Killzone Shadowfall, when I saw that, I said it looks pretty damn good. But it's a first-person shooter. I'm not really interested in playing it. Kind of done with that genre right now. I'm not saying I'll never pick it up again, but, you know, I play third-person shooters and other games right now. First-person shooters, I'm kind of done with them. So there's really not much on the PS4 that I'm looking forward to. And on the Xbox One, it's not much better, but they do have Dead Rising 3. You know, those of you who watch my videos, you know that I said Dead Rising 2 was one of my favorite games of 2010. I really like that series, man. So, I look at Dead Rising 3 and I'm like, damn, man, it's on Xbox One. It's an Xbox One exclusive. You know, $500. Connect 2.0. All these policies they introduced that I didn't like. They got rid of most of them, but they might bring them back. They probably will, to be honest. At some point, in some iteration, they'll bring them back down the line. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if it happens. I said that months ago. I've been saying that to friends offline this whole time whenever we end up talking about Xbox One. Like, I'm worried they'll bring that shit back because it was part of their master plan. But I have to say this. Microsoft, they put everything on the table. They put everything on the table. I'm not hearing nothing about them taking out stuff that people like. I'm not hearing, you know, aside, if people like some of that draconian shit, they were disappointed when it was taken out. But since then, I haven't heard anything about Microsoft taking out anything that they like, man. On day one, you can use Hapag or whatever you use to record your videos. On the PlayStation 4, you can't do that day one. They have to patch that in down the line. The PS4, yeah, it records gameplay, and you can upload it to YouTube or whatever. But if you've been recording videos like I have with a Hapag, you want to stay with that method. You know, you don't want to stick with this built-in PVR shit. You want to use your own shit, man. You want to take it, put it on the computer, edit it together, and present it the way you want to present it. And you have that option still on the Xbox One. On the PS4, not available at launch. Something they're really not talking about. They may patch it in later. You know, I say may, even though I'm hearing that they're supposed to, or they're going to. But I don't take anything that any company says at full face value. You can't. You can't. It's a business, man. You have to remember that shit. But all I know is that, I'm paying $100 more, and I have a built-in Connect that I can shut off that I really don't want to fuck with. But, I can record my shit the way I want to day one. I got Dead Rising 3 day one. Killer Instinct, I don't really think it's going to be good, but I can give it a shot. If it turns out I like it, that's another exclusive I can play. If I don't, just delete that shit and I go back to Dead Rising 3. On the PS4, we're Sogan. And if I'm lucky, maybe some other games. I went over the PS4 list. Like, after Watch Dogs got delayed, it made me realize, oh shit, there's really nothing I want to play on this thing. There really isn't that much. Like, Watch Dogs was the game I was banking on. I really banked on that game pretty hard because it had gotten delayed before. So I'm like, they're not going to delay it again. And they did. Because they care more about their shareholders than they do their customers. But, hey man. Anyway, I looked over that list. I did a whole big rant then when I did that, like I'm doing now, but I never uploaded it. But to sum it up, really not much. Everything that I'm interested in, 2014, basically. 2014. I'll have a link to the list I looked at. It was over on Wikipedia. I want to know what the hardcore Sony fanboys have to say about this shit. Sony not having Suspend Resume ready at launch. Even though it's been like 4 months since they fucking announced it. It's not ready at launch. It won't be ready. We don't know when it'll be ready. And Sony's track record with firmware is not exactly the best. It's not exactly the best. On more than one occasion, their fucking firmware has bricked the PS3. I'm not sure I want to take a chance like that with my PS4. You know, I'm not going to sit here and say that I'm so disappointed that I'll never get a PS4, because that's bullshit. Just like me saying I'll never get an Xbox One is bullshit. I'll eventually have both systems, just like I have both systems now. But I'm disappointed. I'm very fucking disappointed. I'm not going to sit here and say that I'm not. I mean, this is bullshit. Like, if anything, it inspired me to post. So I'll give Sony credit for that. It's going to be a long-ass video. I really don't care. But I'm going to go ahead and post it this time. Them fucking up, again, inspired me to post. And that's what I want to do this generation, man. I really want to make it a point to call these companies out on their bullshit when I see it. Even if I see it late. If it's bullshit, I'm going to call them out on it. If it don't inspire one person watching my videos to do the same fucking thing, then it's done its job. Because we need to be smarter as customers, man. We need to be smarter as consumers. We can't keep letting this shit slide. One of the things that got me mad when the Xbox One first announced all those fucking policies and then they took them away. They took them away. They made the system more likable. And like one of my good friends was all gung-ho, just like that, when the day before, and you know who you are if you're watching this video, the day before, we're sitting there talking about how bad all those policies are. Xbox takes them away, and just like that, you're back on that bandwagon. You didn't even think about it. You didn't even think about it. You weren't like, you know, they might bring it back. Nothing. You didn't care. And it's like consumers turn a blind eye when they want to, and I don't like that. It doesn't help us, man. It doesn't help us. And I gotta, you know, and I'm gonna go ahead and admit, like, all the shit I've been saying, if I go and I get an Xbox day one, you know, I'm more likely to do it now. Before I was like 99.9% opposed. Now I'm more about 80%. I would say I'm much more likely to get an Xbox One day one now because, like I said, PS4 has nothing now, and they don't have their shit together. The Xbox One, they have their shit together. Like, I'm not hearing about any of these problems. I'm not. But you know, if I get that system, you know, people want to rub that shit in my face. I guess I deserve it because I said a lot of shit about Microsoft. You know. It's a lot of shit about how I wasn't going to get the system day one, and, you know, I didn't want to support their policies, and I don't want to support those policies, and I think by getting that system day one, if they decide to bring that shit back in later, I'm kind of tacitly supporting that. And I don't want to, but I also don't want to get a system and just have it sitting there. That's what's going to happen if I get the PS4 at launch. I'm going to get it. I'm going to play this Resogun. Or Reshogun. I don't know how you pronounce that. I really don't give a shit at this point. I don't know how you pronounce it. But I'm going to get it. I'm going to play that game. And even if I like it, I know eventually, after maybe a month, I'll put it down. And then I won't have shit to play. Because The Walking Dead, which is one of the few games that's coming out on PS4 this year, The Walking Dead Season 2, apparently you can't bring over your PS3 files to the PS4 edition. So there's no need for me to get the thing on PS4. There's not going to be a big graphical leap between the two. It might be sharper, it might load a little faster. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that much. Both of those games are going to be running off the hard drive. There's not going to be a big issue with loading. It's not going to be so drastic that I'm going to have the PS4 edition. It's going to run just as well as Season 1 did. Maybe a little better. And that's perfectly fine with me. So I'll get it on PS3, have my exact progress from the PS3 saved, and be on my fucking way. No need to get that shit on PS4. By the way, if you haven't played The Wolf Among Us, you definitely want to play that. It's also done by Telltale Games. It has a great story. I loved episode 1. Play it. You'll enjoy it. But I've been ranting for a long time. I'm going to try and wrap this up. A lot of people did contact me via YouTube through comments on old videos, through private messages, over on PSN, over on Xbox Live. I even had people hitting me up on Twitter asking me why I hadn't posted. And, you know, like I said in the beginning of this video, I haven't posted for a long time. And people were asking me, yo, are you done posting? You know, because I really like your videos. And you know, my audience is small, so for me to get the response that I got was really surprising. And I never really contacted anyone back. I do apologize for that. But to be honest, I wasn't sure if I was going to be posting again. I had lost interest. You know, I was just having fun, enjoying the summer at the time with friends and family. And just, you know, I wasn't really looking at gaming news. I wasn't really too interested in gaming in general. Like, I would just play video games myself, but I didn't really I wasn't really too concerned with what was changing in the gaming industry. So, you know, I really didn't feel much of a need to post. And after about 2 months, I started recording again, started recording commentary, and I liked what I did. It was on par with the stuff I usually post, but somewhere between editing the video together and rendering it out, I lost interest, and I didn't really feel like uploading it anymore. But like I said, like Sony fucking up again made me want to post. So I don't want to sit here and say that I'm quote-unquote back. I don't know when I'm going to be posting again. I could post tomorrow, I could post next week, next month, I don't know. But I do again want to apologize to those of you who took the time to contact me. I make the videos for those of you who want to watch, obviously, but especially for those of you who take the time to interact, to leave comments. And a lot of the people who were asking where I was were from that group. So again, I'm sorry I didn't get back to you guys. Hopefully I keep posting. That's it for this video. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.